even if the movie ended there, you would say good, not a bad movie, but a horrible ending though.
Yeah. Horrible ending, but overall, like for the percentages, if the movie was to end there, you'd be like, okay, it's not bad.
Bad ending, but not bad. But hold on to your Christmas panties, people, because it gets worse.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared.
Damn!
And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Now we are fast forwarding to 2006.
Yes.
So in 2006, so this version of Black Christmas came out on December 25th, 2006, which was a bit of a stickler for some people back then. I say back then like it was a long time ago, but it was a fair time ago.
It was a long time ago. Like, I hate to break it to you, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, but some Christian groups were upset and called for a boycott. Although I don't think people that were listening to these groups were going to go see this movie anyways.
Right.
The movie
also,
opened
Jesus wasn't born in December.
The movie opened at sixth place, but it had some real family competition with Night at the Museum, which was #1 movie over the holidays, The Pursuit of Happiness, Rocky Balboa, Dreamgirls, the less violent Christmas movie, The Holiday. Some of the top songs in December of 2006 was Irreplaceable by Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
I Wanna Love You, Akon. Am I saying that right? Akon, featuring Snoop Dogg. Smack That by Akon, featuring Eminem.
Yep.
Fergalicious by Fergie. Snow, Hey Ho by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And Pain by 3 Days Grace, just to give you an idea of what we were listening to. But it was Christmas, and the big toys of 2006 were PlayStation 3 was popular, but not as popular as the Nintendo Wii. I did buy one of those. A lot of people were playing Wii Bowling Christmas 2006.
I heard the stories of the Wii Bowling. I was not a Wiier.
A Wiier?
A Wiier. No, because I saw it at other people's houses, and I was like,
sounds
I should
like
get
a
one of those.
Digital whore. You fucking weird.
You fucking weird.
Go sell your sin somewhere else.
I will never be a weir.
The Tickle Me Elmo was popular this year thanks to a manufacturing problem, or it was on purpose. But they only were making so many of them, which created a bit of a frenzy. Mm-hmm. Not like the Christmas '96 massacre when Tickle Me Elmo debuted, but it was a tough one to find. Fisher Price, Kid Tough digital camera, Mattel's High School Musical DVD game.
God.
And something called Butterscotch My For Real Friends Pony.
The fuck?
And when I looked that up, if you want to Google it, it is an actual pony. I don't know how big it is, but it kind of looks like an animatronic pony. No. That did it was like $300 back then. My For Real, FURREAL, Friends Pony.
Yo, they still have some. Not like not the big giant ones. Oh no, it's discontinued, yes, but it's apparently there's one on Amazon, yo.
Probably malfunction and kick some poor kid in the head. But I think they're pretty big, like size-wise. I don't know if you could ride it.
Wait. 31.
But for $300
inches high. That's like half my
That's
height.
that's 2.5 feet.
That's like half my height.
So you probably could sit on it and ride the stupid thing.
I totally fucking could.
Yeah.
Well, now I want one.
But it was pretty big. Barbie and Bratz dolls were huge. Star Wars Lego, Star Wars lightsaber kits were huge. And Dora's Talking Kitchen and Air Hogs. And Monopoly Here and Now was first released that year. And that was pretty big. That was the one where they changed all the buying things to like McDonald's and Microsoft and that type of thing. I think that was the first year they started to do that. Now, I haven't seen this movie. Do you remember, did you go to the theater and watch it, or did you rent it around that time?
I did not go to the theater. I did rent it when it came out on DVD. I was very excited because I was like, yeah, Black Christmas. It was filled with 90s goodness. Like all of the actresses were all actresses that were very big in like the 90s and the early 2000s. You would recognize all of them. God bless. It was definitely interesting.
So
That's what I'm going to say about that.
That means Tale of the Tape. So Black Christmas, this version 2006, starring, I hope I pronounce these right, Michelle Trachtenberg,
Yeah, Trachtenberg.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Lacey Chabert.
I say Lacey Chabert. I think she does too.
Okay. And Katie Cassidy. Mm-hmm. And also Andrea Martin. It was directed by Glenn Morgan. It comes in at just a slightly leaner 1 hour and 35 minutes and has a motion picture rating of R for strong horror violence, gore, sexuality, nudity, and language. Rotten Tomatoes has 65 critics scoring this movie at 14%. Also has 100,000 plus verified audience rating of 38%. IMDb has 28,000 user ratings coming in at 4.6 out of 10. It opened on a weekend with 3.7 million and left the box office with just over 16 million on a budget of 9 million. Maybe the Christian boycott worked.
No, I don't think it was the boycott. I think it was just a shitty movie.
Oh, maybe
it was
wasn't
an entertaining one.
It could have been the fact that critics and moviegoers lambasted this movie. The title, it's the same title. It still works. I mean, it didn't get worse. The actors and crew and how they factor into it. I forgot who was in this, and they are all great. This gives me some hope. These are all actresses I know, and you might not know their names, but chances are if you watch this, you're going to recognize their faces, like all of them. Mm-hmm. Glenn Morgan, the director, was more of a producer, but he directed the remake of Willard, which I actually remember liking, even though I hate rats and rodents, but I remember liking that remake. I think most people hate rats.
Well,
I don't think people move into an area and go, oh, how awesome, a rat infestation. The length,
great. Just missing the rats.
Yeah, exactly. Again, a good length for a slasher movie. The rating R with the strong violence and all that. I'd be even more wary if this remake was rated PG or PG-13.
Yeah.
The box office doesn't look good. Like if this movie cost 9, I'm guessing the marketing was close to something like that, even if a bit less. So I don't think it, but on DVD rentals, and it might have been profitable. I'm just going to bring, and from what I researched and I tried not to get any of because I never seen it. So I didn't want to get a whole ton of information, but from what I did piece together, the Weinstein brothers really had a hand in altering the script, some reshoots, and change the ending. So the director, it's one of those ones where it might have been a lot different movie, and then editors and producers, more producers yelling at the editor, and the movie gets changed.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Usually, sometimes it's for the better, but usually it's
no,
the worst.
You can tell in this movie. You can tell in this movie that there were multiple people because it feels very disjointed. Like you can still roll, but like sometimes you're like, that's ridiculous. And then it goes back. Like it starts off really great.
Yeah.
It starts off with the right vibe. You're like, okay. And then there's a certain point in the movie where it just goes way off road. Like it goes up into the mountains and you're like, I don't know why we're here.
See, I really do like. I know when I went back and looked at it, I do know all the actresses, and I'm excited about seeing that. So there is our poster. Can you see that, or is that way too small?
Yes, I can see it.
And poster's good. I like the poster.
I like the poster too.
Like it's just as creepy and disturbing as the first one.
A woman wrapped up in Christmas lights in
Yeah.
a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's a going to be a fun prank jump out of the present surprise.
No.
Looks like she doesn't want to be wrapped up.
There is no puppy under the tree. Just her all tied up. Fantastic.
The tagline is, "This holiday season, the sleigh ride begins." That's a horrible tag. And it was Slay by SLAY.
Yeah.
So that was a horrible tagline.
Correct.
That's probably a Weinstein thing.
Yes. I do not doubt that. That man has ruined enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the synopsis is, the holiday season turns deadly for a group of sorority sisters, Katie, Cassie, Mary Elizabeth Weinstead, Lacey Chabert, Michelle Trachtenberg, who are stranded at their campus house during a snowstorm. These co-eds better watch out, for a vicious killer is on the loose, and he will not care if they are naughty or nice. It's all right. I like the night or a nice thing at the end, but
yeah, it's very 2000s. It's very like punchy, catchy, upbeat. It's upbeat, and I'm like, yeah, you're talking about a bunch of people being slaughtered. You don't have to be Berkey. It's okay. But I mean, that was the late 90s, 2000s. It's just the vibe.
All right, so we're gonna watch the trailer. All right, let's take a look.
15 years ago, on Christmas Eve, his family became his victims.
What have you done?
All roads and airports are officially closed. This one is not gonna let up.
A group of college friends
That sucks. Everyone should be home for Christmas.
are about to discover
Lauren, we're opening up presents.
Why don't you open the present we got you?
their house
I got it.
is his home.
All is calm, all is bright. Who is in my house tonight?
Don't you have lots of toys to deliver to good little boys and girls?
You really shouldn't provoke somebody like that.
And on December 25th,
You're definitely getting punked.
Is that Santa's reindeer?
all he wants for Christmas
Is Megan in her room?
is a new family he can treat like his very own.
You're my family now.
Black Christmas.
See that? Oh, I gotta get rid of this. There we go. That made it. It looks good.
Yeah.
And I can't believe the actors that are in it. And I haven't watched this.
The acting, surprisingly, was great. My issue becomes later on in the movie. It feels like it goes off course. Like it just becomes a little ridiculous.
See, and that's the critical ratings of the critics and the audience. Well, the audience kind of falls into where a lot of horror movies fall into, like that 38%.
Yeah.
That can be pretty standard for. There's a lot of 38% movies that I love, but critical movies, when they start getting down to the 14.
Yeah.
And then from what you said, I'm not expecting too much. So the bar is already set really low for me. Now I'm just looking for some mindless fun, or so bad it's good, or something.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be so bad it's good. Like, this is what I remember from it. It has been a few years since I've seen it. Probably about 5 or 6 since I've seen this movie. Maybe 7. Because I used to do marathons of all 3 in a row. Or the first 2 I used to do back to back. And then when the third one came out, I was like, oh, I should do a marathon of like 3 of them. All 3. I never ended up doing it though. But this one, it's fun. It is fun. You really have to suspend your disbelief. Like, because at one point it starts to get ridiculous, but it's still fun. So I'll preface it with that.
It's too bad they couldn't do like a. But I think if you go back and do like a director's cut, you need some sort of heavy fan base.
Yeah.
Plus, I've heard Kevin Smith tried to buy Dogma back because it was done at Weinstein's company. Mm-hmm. And he tried to buy it back, and Weinstein wanted this abnormal amount of money. So if he still owns certain movies, you probably won't get until he's dead, which hopefully will be soon.
We can only hope. I mean, I say a quiet prayer every once in a while.
So yeah, like I said, my bar is set really low. So yeah,
I still think you'll enjoy it. I don't think it'll become a rewatch for you, but I think you'll enjoy it. Like, I think it'll be a good time.
All right.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
And now we're going to talk. Oh, I didn't bring it up. Son of a. Okay. But now we're going to talk about Black Christmas 2006 version. I just got to find the thing. There you are. All right. 2006. Okay. I will start with initial thoughts. Black Christmas 2006 version. Let's get into this dumpster fire of a movie.
It meant well.
If the original went by the premise, less is more, than the 2000 version said, fuck that, and went in the opposite direction. Then sideways, upside down, and a couple of what the fuck loop-de-loops. Jesus, like, what did you have me watch? Like, I actually thought when you said I would have to suspend my disbelief, I actually took that as, because I've never seen it before. I took that as they were going into like the supernatural territory or something.
No.
You actually meant I had to suspend my disbelief because of the complete and utter stupidity.
Correct. You had to literally turn off your common sense. You had to turn off your basic knowledge. Like, when I say suspend disbelief, I really mean like you have to pretend reality is not a thing. No. That there are no rules to this universe.
No, holy shit, Mother Mary of Christmas. This movie is bad. Okay, but we'll get into that. Like, your initial thoughts? Because there are a couple, for me, there are a few asterisks. When I say this movie was fucking bad, there are some asterisks to it, and we'll get into that.
Okay, so for this movie, my initial thoughts were, it started out with good intentions and the right steps.
Yes.
And then literally at one point, it just seems to throw its hands up in the air and say, fuck it. And it goes where it shouldn't have gone at all. And that's half the fun of this movie.
I
But
think later on I worded a note that actually is almost word for word what you just said.
Honestly, the movie starts out kind of, super shiny and kind of cartoonish, I guess.
Yes.
That feeling. And you're like, okay, but it starts out with the right kind of story, and it starts out with the right kind of, I'm like, I see where you're going with this. This could be very good. And then it takes a hard left, and you're like, I don't know where the fuck you're going now. None of this makes sense. And that's Black Christmas 2006.
Well, my pros for this one, okay, this is hard. But the acting is not bad. The actors are actually great. The effects aren't bad. The look, the kills, and really the first half of the movie, like you said, it isn't bad. But just when you think the movie can't get worse, oh boy. Your pros.
My pros, once again, the cast. I love the cast. I think there was a lot of potential there for the cast.
Yes.
And they did what they could with what they were working with, and I appreciate them for that. Also, I like how much they referred to the original Black Christmas.
Yes.
I like a lot of the similar elements and the similar feels. And I was like, okay, yeah, I like this. It's like an homage, but you're kind of updating it a little bit. I was like, this is nice.
Cons, there's too many. I mean, holy fuck.
The second half
story
of the movie.
the story just gets more and more ridiculous. And there were it seemed like there were too many chefs in the kitchen, and the editor was like, fuck it, I'll just do what they tell me to do.
Honestly, it kind of felt like the writers for this movie decided about halfway through that they had hit like a writer's block wall. And they were like, guys, we're just going to play and then. Yes, and then. That's what they were going to play. So then this happens. Yes, and then. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you're sitting there going, the fuck? None of this makes sense.
I thought maybe they wrote ideas on a piece of paper and threw it into a hat, and as they just kept going along, they're like, oh, fuck. Guess that's going in the movie.
Or maybe they called in a soap opera writer.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And they were just like, have at it. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Well, I was so impressed by how off the rails this movie went that I did do some research, and I did find out some really cool things after we do the overview, and it explains a lot. But we'll get to that after, because the movie wasn't the only thing that went off the rails. Okay, so the overview. All right, so let's start. On a snowy winter night on Christmas Eve in the Alpha Kappa Gamma sorority house, Lauren is getting changed into her pajamas. In the next room, Claire is writing a Christmas card to her half-sister, Lee. Suddenly, she hears something from her closet. She goes over to the closet door and looks inside. Nothing but clothes. She goes back to her cards and sees that her fountain pen is missing. Suddenly, a figure wraps a bag around her head. In the struggle, the figure stabs the pen into her eye. So far, so good. Paying homage to the original and changing it slightly.
Changed it slightly.
Yeah.
Also, what I really liked is they did close-ups on like the corkscrew, the scissors, and the pen.
Yep.
The pen was using red ink, and then she does the walk over to the closet. There are dry cleaner bags in there, and I was like, this is all very like ominous and foreshadowing, and I enjoy it.
Yep.
I'd like to point out that the pen goes in the eye, and that was really gross for me. I don't like that idea. Thank you.
Yes, this was definitely, it set the tone that we're going to be a little more gorier.
Yes.
We're going to acknowledge the original, but we're going to be a little more gorier, which was fine. It's fine. It's so far, like I said, so far so good.
Yeah.
At a mental institution not far away, Billy Lenz is being served his Christmas dinner. He is locked away, rocking back and forth in his rocking chair, safely in his cell that is decorated with Christmas lights. The orderly serving the food gets a scare from a volunteer dressed as a Santa, who is looking for the children's ward. Security guard Jay Bailey makes jokes to the orderly about Billy trying to escape every year. The orderly and Santa walk away, leaving the security guard alone in the hall. Again, cool. I'm digging it. Like, the original gave no backstory, like nothing, which made it really even creepier. But other than he thought very little of the opposite sex and had a high opinion of his penis through his phone calls, and his name was Billy and there was Agnes somewhere. That was it. That's all we knew about him. Well, that, and he was a complete and utter psychopath.
Well, yes.
So I'm like, awesome. A little Billy backstory, shedding some light, motive, not a bad thing. I'm excited. And the whole Santa going down the hall and the security guard. Yeah, it's fine. Above average for a horror movie thus far.
I'm into it.
Billy opens the small window on his cell and places a present wrapped in newspaper on the ledge for the security guard. The security guard opens it to find nothing that interesting, except on the newspaper is written, "I'll be home for Christmas." The security guard looks into the cell to find it empty and Billy's chair rocking back and forth. Okay, you call someone, for the love of God, like you call a possible breach, escape, whatever.
Hold on. Escape from the asylum for Billy. Escape from the asylum for Billy. Thanks, stupid guard. That's my literal note. Also, I feel like we should highlight that they put chicken skins on a little plate with cookies that get given to Billy.
Yeah, it was gross.
Before he escaped. It was gross because it tastes like his mother. And I remember thinking that's weird. And then we find out why. But anyways, go on.
Yes. He quickly opens the cell and goes inside to find a hole in the wall. He takes his flashlight and looks into the hole as Billy comes from under the bed and stabs him in the neck with a candy cane. Dude, horror movie 101. The killer might not be in the most obvious hiding spot, but you check it anyway.
Still there, though. Yep. Also, always
fucking
have
guy.
backup. Never go in alone.
No,
you cannot handle anything alone. Period.
That's what I mean. You call someone.
Yep.
What was his name? Hannibal Lecter. Didn't look that imposing. It's just a little English guy.
Yep. But he will eat you.
Billy leaves the cell and kills a man dressed as Santa. He steals his outfit, stuffs his body in a bag, and leaves the institution, dumping the bag in the dumpster with the man's hands sticking out from the bag. Again, did Billy imitate the sexy nurse voice?
No, because the nurse was like down the hall and still talking to him.
Oh, okay.
And Billy was coming in the other hall on the other side of the glass.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So Billy was just trying to escape, and he was like, oh, but that's going to be a good cover.
And I love the 90s and 2000s movies where supermodels worked every menial job. But even still, I'm still liking the movie. It's very 2000.
It is what it is. Like at that point, if you could have also signed a deal with Victoria's Secret the next day.
Yeah.
You literally work every single job.
Yep. Outside of the sorority house, Kelly and her boyfriend Kyle are talking in his car. She tells him that she's going to spend Christmas with her roommates, but that she will make it up to him. He is disappointed because this is their first Christmas together. She kisses him goodbye and goes inside the house. As she does, her fellow sorority sister Megan calls Kyle on his cell phone. Meanwhile, Megan is in her room watching an old homemade porn movie that features her and Kyle. Kyle hangs up the phone. Kelly goes inside and greets everyone. Inside, Melissa, her best friend, Heather, Dana, Lauren, and Mrs. McHenry, the house mother who loves all the girls and accepts their flaws. I didn't write this. But I will say this Mrs. Mack seems to like them more than OG Mrs. Mack.
Yes.
Not that the old OG, yeah, she didn't. Not that she didn't love them, but it was obvious that was her job.
Mm-hmm.
They have a secret Santa gift giving thing going, and Miss Mack wants to know who got Billy. According to her, Billy killed his family here at the house. When Billy was born, he has a liver disorder that makes his skin yellow. His father loved him regardless, but his mother is disappointed and wants nothing to do with him. This is where it starts. I'm not hating it at this point, but this is where it starts. Why fucking a liver disease? Like, when they were writing this, was there an actual discussion about what color can we make him to make him more sinister looking?
Honestly, I don't know why they did this, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I can understand wanting to make the baby like imperfect so that the mom's like, I don't want the kid. And I'm like, I kind of understand. But they made him like highlighter yellow. Like, this is like, it's a very obvious, like, not there's a yellow tinge to his skin. It's you're yellow, like Homer Simpson yellow.
Yeah, no, he looked like a fucking glowworm, that little baby sitting there.
It was so fucked up. But
Like, give him a physical deformation.
Yeah.
Like one that makes him even maybe look menacing and creepy.
But no, just he's yellow. And this was enough for his mother to reject him.
Yeah. And they did say that the baby looked like her father, and she obviously did not like him. Now, they live in the house that is now the sorority house. As Billy gets a bit older, he's treated even worse by his mother, who has become an alcoholic. I think she was an alcoholic like right from the get-go. It's probably what made him yellow.
Yeah.
Like, not even a yellowish hue. Fucker was neon yellow. Like someone plugged him into an outlet and never turned him off.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
On Christmas, when he 100%. Is 5, his mother tells him Santa was shot down by Russians. He looked a lot older than 5. Again, I don't write this. I think he was older than 5. But anyways, his father, however, tells him he has a present for him hidden in a stowaway space in Billy's closet. Billy goes into his room, which will become Eve's in the present day, and finds a telescope, making him briefly very happy. However, his mother and father are not getting along very well. That's another statement. And his mom is having an affair. Moments after finding the telescope, Billy hears arguing and looks under the door to witness his father with a bag over his head and his head being bashed in with a hammer. Billy runs back to his room as his mother and her lover take the body outside and begin to bury it in the crawl space under the house. Billy is watching this and is discovered. His mother chases him into the attic and locks him in there. Other than the yellow part, I'm still it's not a masterpiece.
I'm still in. I love the backstory.
But it's still I'm still liking it.
It's fun.
Fine. Yeah.
It's a fun, fluffy horror movie. You're like, yeah, okay. I can still follow.
All of the girls are horrified by this story, but Mrs. Mack assures them it's all true. Heather says she was the one who drew Billy's name for the Secret Santa, but she thought it was wrong to buy him a gift because he was a murderer and it was offensive to the birth of Jesus to make a mockery of gift giving. Heather starts to go upstairs to her room, but runs into Eve. So we get Dana's tirade of Christmas and religion not having anything to do with each other, where I say different strokes. But she seemed to be really upset over it, and she's the drunk.
Understandable.
Also, this is where we are supposed to think, I believe, that Eve is creepy and maybe might be Agnes. Like, that might come back as thinking. Because they made her think, like, they made her out to be kind of creepy and angry because she gives Heather the gift wrapped in newspaper like Billy did just a moment before with the guard.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn, again, like the one in the original movie. Which might make sense because Agnes, I had to look this up. Agnes was born in 1983 from what I could tell from the movie. So she would be 22, 23 by this time.
Yeah.
And I did like the line, I got you the unicorn because I know you like the Bible. Oh, fuck. Eve has been upstairs the whole time and is leaving to go visit her family. She gives Heather her Secret Santa gifts, a crystal statue unicorn. I got ahead of myself. Heather is less than impressed and bids Eve farewell. Eve goes towards the door, but Mrs. Mack tells her she has a present for her. Before she can find it, Eve leaves, obviously disappointed by Heather's reaction to the unicorn. Poor Eve. Kelly and Lauren go upstairs to tell Claire and Megan they are going to open the presents. Claire obviously doesn't answer. Lauren pounds on the door and says she is going to steal her presents if she doesn't get down there. Laughing, Kelly does this on Megan's door. Megan tells them to go away and she doesn't want to open presents. They leave and Megan hears a snow globe tune playing in the attic. She goes into the attic and asks if someone is playing a joke. She gets more than she bargained for when she finds Claire's body by the window in a rocking chair. Someone comes from behind and smashes the snow globe into her head. She falls onto the ground. As a bag is put over her head, she fights back, but the figure rips out one of her eyes with her bare hands. I liked it because Megan was able to fight back.
Yes.
But was it a clue that it was for us to harken back because it was Agnes and a girl? That's why she was able to fight back?
No, I think it was just because I think this definitely becomes more of a theme for this one. And
yes.
They're like of them fighting back. Like they're not weak, they're not timid. They're all, willing to step up and fight back. I think that's where it kind of comes from because someone's like, come on, if someone puts a bag over your head, you don't just immediately stop moving. You still struggle.
Very true. Well, I would hope.
Well, I mean,
unless
if
you were in
someone puts a
Friday
bag over
13th
your head
1.
and you're like, well, that's it. I'm done now. I'm just going to wait until I suffocate. You've had bigger issues.
Well, like I said, that's Friday the 13th. The 1979 one. But again, like we were saying, the acting, even Megan, the actress who played Megan,
so good.
They had a stellar cast.
Yeah, they honestly, they could have done so much with this cast. It could have been amazing.
The home phone rings. Melissa answers it and puts it on the loudspeaker. The caller is making all sorts of weird noises. Okay, they really do drop the ball here. Again, I'm still liking the movie, but the phone calls was the one main reason for the first one being so creepy. They didn't have to do the same thing, but it would have helped.
I don't get creepy vibes from these phone calls. It's almost joking, like melodramatic. Put it that way.
And like, why not? Like you already have eyeballs being ripped out. You're not getting a PG-13 rating.
No, go for it.
So yeah, Lauren teases him, and the caller threatens to kill Lauren before hanging up. Heather says someone is obviously sick in the head and doesn't need to be provoked by Lauren. Melissa checks the caller ID and is surprised to see it's coming from Megan's cell. They assure themselves it's a joke. Yeah, it gets brushed off awfully quick.
Yeah. And I'm like, it never occurred to anybody to just go upstairs and see if you can find Megan and ask her why the fuck she's making weird phone calls.
Yeah, they knew she was up there. She just yelled at them.
Yeah, you've had this, she's up there. Like if someone calls me and I know that they're in the house and they give me like some weird shit, say some weird shit to me on the phone, I'm going upstairs to be like, the fuck? Why?
Exactly.
Why would you do that? But anyways, plot hole aside, go ahead.
They open their presents with Mrs. Mack getting some lingerie as a gag gift. Much better than the original lingerie.
Yep.
Laughs, and Kelly goes back upstairs to check on the girls. Kyle suddenly pops out of Megan's room. Kelly screams, and the other girls rush upstairs. Kyle apologizes and said he wanted to surprise her. Miss Mackin asks if Megan is in the room, and Kyle says he doesn't know. He also said that her door was locked. That's why I had to go through Megan's.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren asked him how he could have just been in her room and not know if she is in there. He explained that it's really dark in there. He makes a joke about Billy getting her. He then tells everyone another story about Billy's past. First, it's not that dark. Second, close the fucking laptop. Because it was right by the window when you came in.
Yep.
Like, I know Hollywood views us all as idiots, but Jesus. The original tried to make... this is obviously, they're doing the same for Kyle that they did for Peter. They're trying to make him seem like he could be the killer. But they don't even try that hard.
I don't know what direction Oliver Hudson was getting from the director.
No.
But it wasn't make yourself mysterious.
No.
Or, allude to... It was very much play it like you're just the dumb guy who lives down the street.
And it was very fleeting. Like they try to make Peter's character like look like the killer over time with subtle, few obvious clues. But yeah, not this one. Billy was, and then he tells the story. Billy was kept in the attic for many years. His mother and stepfather lived happily without him. Everything was wonderful except his mom couldn't get pregnant by his stepfather. and was sexually frustrated by his inability to maintain an erection. On Christmas, when Billy was 12, she crept into the attic and had sex with him, her own son. 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby girl named Agnes. I will give it this. This movie has a bit of everything.
Oh boy, does it ever. Oh boy, does it ever.
They didn't want to offend anyone by using the word cunt, but inbred child rape, that's A-okay.
Totally fine. Totally fine. By all means, let's have a little incest. Let's have some child rape. Why not?
Yeah, and again, it's I'm still into the movie, and I'm kind of feeling sorry for Billy at this. I already did feel sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah, like now you're going. I get why Billy's a little upset.
Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of like, Billy, valid. Like, I get it. Go
Christmas,
ahead.
let him kill a few people.
Go on a killing spree. You kind of earned it. It's fine.
She loves Agnes and uses the occasion to further reject Billy, looking up to the attic where Billy's kept and saying references to Agnes, "She's my family now." Variants of the line this line are used repeatedly in the rest of the movie. As Agnes grew older, Billy became jealous. One Christmas, Agnes got a doll for a present. A jealous Billy releases a tantrum and breaks the attic door open and rushes to the living room, attacking Agnes and pulling out one of her eyes, stabbing his stepfather in the face and beating his mom to death with a dough roller. When the police arrive on the scene, they find him eating a cookie made of the mother's flesh. No, they actually saw him. You get to see him make these cookies.
Yeah, no, he makes the cookies. He gets a cookie cutter and he cuts out the skin and he puts it on a cookie sheet. And that was the grossest part of this entire movie.
And eating it quite aggressively.
Very aggressively. Very aggressively. That entire kitchen scene with the skin cookies.
Yeah, that was gross.
So fucking disgusting.
So again, I'm fine with the movie. This movie is not creepy.
Good. Yep.
It's a gore
100%.
movie. It's a 2000s glossy, fluffy gore. Agnes was put into an orphanage, and no one knows where she is today. Other than the inbreeding, like I said, I'm still fine with it. It's nowhere close to the original, but it has already established it was going for something different. Yeah. Which in the 2000s was common, especially with remakes.
This was very much a 2000s horror movie. And I think that's why you can kind of watch it. And you're like, okay, for the time and for the genre and what was being produced at the time, this is on par.
Yeah.
You're like,
yes, absolutely. The girls are freaked out by the story. No shit. Kelly goes inside Megan's room and finds the porn video on the computer. Again, he just had to close the laptop.
Yep.
She breaks down and Kyle tells her it was from a long time ago. Kelly screams for him to leave the house and he becomes enraged, calling the women spoiled bitches. Mrs. Mack goes off on him about treating Kelly like that, pushing him toward the stairs. As Kyle leaves, a figure is standing by the tree looking at the presents. So Kyle is just a big, horny, porn-producing jerk, and this person ignored all of the commotion and kept looking at the presents.
I'd like to point out that Kyle is the epitome of a nice guy who's very nice to you until all of a sudden you're not willing to give in to whatever he wants. Then all of a sudden he starts losing his ever-loving mind and calling you all kinds of names. Yeah.
Yeah, he made a total 180.
Super abusive. Super abusive. Just want to flag that. Go ahead.
Where am I? Oh, Miss Mac asks who the person is. Claire's half-sister, Lee, tells the girls that Claire never called her, telling her she was ready to be picked up and she is now worried. Dana said she even had no idea Claire had a sister. Lee explains they are only half-sisters and are trying to get to know each other. Again, another nod to the original, just switching up from realistic, normal-looking worried dad to supermodel half-sister. So 2000s. Still
Great
fine.
Great cheekbones.
Good hair. Yes.
And her hair was impeccable.
And I can't remember, I remember her from quite a few things.
Wasn't she in Final Destination? I feel like she played a teacher.
Yeah, I believe you're right, which would make sense because the producer and director of this movie also invented Final Destination and directed Final Destination 1 and 3.
She played the teacher, if I'm not mistaken, that dies on the kitchen floor.
In number
1.
1?
Yeah,
Those are
they
good
were supposed to
movies.
go to France, and then she got off, and then she's like, "You're the one that speaks French. Go to France with the kids. I'll stay behind with these delinquents." And then she lived, and then she
Yes.
died.
Then she
Whatever,
died.
it's fine. I'm sorry, that was a tangent. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the acting is still good. I'd argue almost superior to the original.
Yeah.
Even with the screenplay, that, like, not counting John Saxon. I mean, come on. But suddenly the power goes out in the house. Dana says the circuit breaker's under the house and she will go turn it on. They argue about this. And is this a thing? And if it is, why the fuck would you put it under the house?
None of that makes sense.
No, okay. It's not just me, right?
House, not under the fucking veranda. Nobody's doing that when you build a house. It has to be accessible from the inside. Yeah. You morons. Now,
I would have bought, like, why the garage?
Yeah.
You didn't put it in the garage.
Or just, like, if there's, like, a storm cellar, you can put it in there. That's fine.
Storm cellar, that would make sense.
But why are you crawling underneath? Like, why are you army crawling to get to the... No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
She goes outside and smokes. Yeah, no shit. She goes outside and smokes, dropping her cigarette into a hole on the porch. She hears someone underneath it. Taking her flashlight, she opens the door to the crawl space and looks inside. Suddenly, someone grabs her, pulling her in. That part is a little unfair. I believe Dana thinks that it's Eve, because doesn't she say, "I can see your breath, you crazy bitch, Eve," or something along those lines? But saying that, wouldn't you be a little concerned that A, the power went out, and B, your creepy house sister is hanging out underneath the house?
Correct. Correct.
The two struggle. Now it's starting to... I'm still enjoying it, but it's starting to, like, poke at me. Mm-hmm. Like, just little things are starting to poke.
This is where it starts to just kind of not veer, but kind of waver.
Yeah, there's a wobble.
Wavering at this point, yeah.
The two struggle as a figure grabs a gardening tool and stabs Dana in the head. Lauren is beyond drunk now, having been drinking booze the whole night. Melissa tells her she smells and needs to shower. As she showers, someone watches from a broken tile in the floor. Mm-hmm. I could tell that was an added scene, like the eye was superimposed after the effect. Yes. For all the things to CGI, that didn't make, and I know it's a little thing but it was just weird.
It does look very disjointed.
Yeah, like almost, like a TV screen was put up. Yeah, it was weird. After the shower, Lauren goes to bed. Everyone starts asking where the other girls are, since Claire, Megan, and Dana have disappeared. Kelly questions what has taken Dana so long, and is even more startled when someone calls from Dana's cell number and hangs up. The rest of the girls go outside to look for Dana. Heather and Lee find Eve's car still parked outside. They open the car door and scream as Eve's severed head rolls out. So the girl we thought might be Agnes, or they want us to think might be Agnes, can't be, because she's decapitated. And if you're listening to this and can't tell by my tone, I'm being totally sarcastic. The girls scream and run back into the house, locking the door behind them. Kelly calls the police, but because of the snow, it may take over 2 hours for them to arrive. That seems a little unlikely. Like, I know it was snowing out, but it didn't look that bad. Like, even in 2006, like, they're not in a rural community.
They don't have enough tow trucks.
No, or a snowplow.
It's not even that bad. Like, I don't understand.
And they just said they found their friend decapitated. I could be wrong, you know. Mrs. Mack tells everyone that they can pile into her car and try to find help. Kelly says they won't get very far, and they need to stick together. This whole argument made sense to me from both sides. So I am obviously not a leader. I would easily agree with piling into the car and hauling ass. I also see the sense in sticking together in numbers. I'm the guy who waits to see what idea is becoming more popular and then joining that team.
Yeah, everybody needs to get the fuck out. But before you do that, you need to check the back seat.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, we're about to get to that.
Yeah.
Heather said she wants to leave, and Mrs. Mack tells the girls that they can stay, and she will go with Heather to find help. The two go outside and get in the car. Miss Mack gets out of the car to scrape off the ice. That was kind of funny when she held up the scrape. She's like, what the hell's that? Scrape the ice off the windshield. As she begins to scrape, Billy's yellow eye is fucking... I'm surprised the whole inside of the car didn't fucking glow. Comes into the view inside the car. Miss Mack gasps as he kills Heather. Her blood spraying all over the windshield. Miss Mack falls against the garage door, causing an icicle to fall from above, which impales her head. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting it either, and I had two thoughts when I watched it again this time. One, that's a funny way for her to die, and it makes me sad that it's not a death with purpose. You know, that made me a little sad.
Yeah.
And two, I was like, I think this is where the entire movie just starts to go to shit.
Yeah. Yes, it was alluding to that, and it's just now it's starting to really gain momentum.
Yeah, I think this is the turning point where everything is just like, and now we're just going to throw all the shit at it.
Like, I mean, once the camera alluded to the large icicle overhead, kind of giving it away. But if you asked me how I thought Miss Mack would die, I would never have guessed giant icicle.
Me neither.
Lee notices that Miss Mack hasn't left yet. She decides to go see what's going on. Kelly decides to go out with her, leaving Melissa and a sleeping Lorne behind. As they leave the house, a figure grabs Heather's unicorn statue and walks down the hall. In the garage, Lee slips on Miss Mack's blood and screams. Upon hearing this, Melissa rushes towards the stairs. A figure grabs, wraps a bag over her head, and slamming her into the wall. She rips the bag off and rushes through the house and into her room. She grabs a stick and hits the figure with it. Melissa opens a window and is going to climb out, but the figure throws an ice skate at her, cutting off the back of her head and killing her. Again, it jumps from disturbing gore to comic violence, because I defy anyone to throw an ice skate at the back of someone's head and see if it just slices it off. It's not going to happen.
No.
You might hurt them.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe knock them out.
Blood, but it will not just like lodge in there.
No. So now we're officially off the rails.
Yeah.
Kelly and Lee rush inside and call for Melissa. There is no answer, and they go to Lauren's room, closing the door behind them. But someone is on the other side of the door, and it kicks open. It's Kyle. Lee attacks him, and he throws her against Lauren's bed, causing the covers fall off of Lauren, who's very much dead with her eyes gouged out. Everyone screams, and Kyle insists he isn't the killer. Kelly calls Lauren's cell phone and hears it ringing in the attic. Actually, she sees it, kind of the little light up through that grate. That part I liked. That was kind of cool.
That part I like too.
She explains that the killer might be in the attic with her phone. Kyle opens the attic door and is pulled inside. After they go looking, they decided that the plan would be to go, and he actually said that was stupid, but Lee says, because this was out of this overview, she's not going anywhere until she sees her sister dead. So they decide to go up into the attic. And this had to be one of the stupidest plans in a horror movie.
100%, like, 1,000,000%.
You had no leverage. You had no element of surprise. You had no way of defending yourself, let alone be offensive.
Yep.
It was 100% impossible.
Yep.
If the killer was up there.
It was so funny. It was like, you go up there. I'll go up there, because he says this, whatever his name is, and you flash the light. And you shine the light up there. And I was like,
yes.
The fuck kind of stupidity is that? You stick your head into the attic. What do you think is going to happen at that point? You're not going to see anything in enough time before you die. And that's just what I have to say about that. It was stupid.
I will be the killer in the attic with any weapon before I'm that moron with just a switchblade climbing up that ladder.
1,000,000%. It was just so much stupid. So much stupid. But anyways.
Yeah. There was no good outcome from that plan.
Well, as soon as the plan was suggested, I was like, oh, now we're just not bothering with reality. Okay, fine.
Nope. So Kyle gets pulled inside. Kelly and Lee try to get into the attic, but the door slams shut. Kyle fights back as a bag is put over his head. Kelly breaks the door open and witnesses Kyle being stabbed with the unicorn statue. Then one of his eyes being ripped out and eaten. Lee attacks the figure and is thrown across the attic, discovering her half-sister's body still in the rocking chair. So now they can go.
Yep.
And if it wasn't like, this is where you would say that this is where things get really stupid. Like, I mean, up until now, I could almost forgive everything with being silly horror stupidity. Like,
yeah.
Like it was a mediocre skip, a mediocre script with some bad changes, whatever. But now, like, holy fuck.
Now it's just terrible.
The figure attacks Kelly and Lee, tries to help, but is knocked into a hole in the floor. A bag is put over Kelly's head, but she grabs a fork and stabs the figure in the eye. She gets up and sees the figure has a glass eye. I think it's wood, because I don't think you'd be able to poke the glass. Again, it doesn't make sense. It's Agnes. Kelly tells Agnes everything is okay, and she doesn't have to do this. She tells him her brother isn't here. He is still locked away. Agnes tells her that she doesn't have a brother, only a father. Billy comes from behind and lights a candle. He didn't have to light a candle.
No.
The motherfucker was glowing like a nightlight. Oh, God.
Accurate.
Agnes attacks Kelly, but is knocked into another hole on the floor and pins her between the walls. Billy pushes Kelly into the same hole, accidentally knocking over the candle. Kelly has grabbed onto a string of Christmas lights attached to a small tree, trying to keep from falling completely in. She screams for help as Agnes starts to crawl up the hole. Lee comes to her rescue, smashing open the wall. Agnes grabbed Lee's head, but she managed to fight her off. Lee runs through the house and smashes out another wall, finally reaching the spot where Kelly is trapped. Billy is climbing into the hole and Agnes is crawling up. Okay, this outline doesn't even do it justice.
No.
Billy started climbing down a while ago, and it was taking this fucking glowworm forever to get down there.
Yes, it was.
Lee grabs Kelly and pulls her to safety as a Christmas tree catches fire along with the rest of the attic and falls into the hole, burning Agnes and Billy. The two survivors rush outside. Even if the movie ended there, you would say, good, not a bad movie, but a horrible ending, though.
Yeah. Horrible ending, but overall, like, for the percentages, if the movie was to end there, you'd be like, okay, it's not bad.
Bad ending, but not bad. But hold on to your Christmas panties, people, because it gets worse. At the hospital, Kelly is going to have some tests done to make sure she is okay. Lee has a present in her hand from Claire. She tells Kelly she wants to open it now because she won't be able to open it in front of her family. She says that she is glad she got to know Claire before all of this happened. She opens the present and finds a watch engraved with family forever. She starts to cry as the nurse comes in and tells Kelly they need her for some x-rays. Sometime later, Lee goes back to Kelly's room to see if she's back from x-rays. A body with blonde hair lays in the bed. Okay, now wait. This outline missed a pretty big part, and I had to write it down. The coroner, it starts with the coroner arguing on his phone about working Christmas. He's in the morgue.
Yep.
Once his call is over, he sees one of the bags moving. Okay, at this point, I'm really trying. He opens the first bag. It's Agnes, who seems dead. And for a 22-year-old girl, she looks a lot like a 40-year-old man.
It's because she was played by a 40-year-old man.
Because she was played by a 40-year-old. Then Billy gets out of his bag and kills the coroner. Agnes gets out of her bag. I thought the police were bad in the 1974 one. Holy shit. These 2006 cops didn't even check to see if they were dead.
Nope.
Like, eyes are closed, must be dead, bag them. And neither killers look burnt, no singed hair, not even a bit of black soot on their face or clothes.
Totally fine.
Back to the story. But as Lee approaches, the person turns over to reveal Agnes. Lee screams as Agnes grabs her by the throat and snaps her neck. For someone who had a whole lot of trouble killing the people she did kill, she did this one with almost superhero strength.
Yep.
I don't. Okay. Kelly comes back to the room and feels something wrong. She finds Lee's new watch. She sees blood on the ceiling above her and starts to leave the room. The watch also had blood on it, which is the tried and true sign of something not being quite right.
Mm-hmm.
But Agnes grabs her from behind the curtain and starts to strangle her. Kelly grabs a defibrillator paddle and shocks Agnes in the head, killing her. Took a while for that thing to heat up, but
yeah.
Now, quick side note: this is where she kills her with the defibrillator. Is the ending for the UK version?
Is it?
Yes, and the morgue part didn't
goodness.
happen. Those lucky bastards! Like it's still stupid,
really
but
no, it's still stupid, but it's less stupid than what we got.
yeah, our version continues from here. When Billy comes down the ceiling. As Kelly rushes from the room, she grabs some crutches that are in the hall and starts to beat him with it. She turns to run, thinking he is unconscious, but he grabs her foot, causing her to fall over a medical cart. Billy grabs a scalpel and from the pile of medical supplies now on the floor and takes chase. Mind you, two people, medical staff, seem to ignore the patient in distress running from a yellow glowing man in his pajamas.
Holding a scalpel. Like he's holding a weapon.
Yeah.
Running after this patient.
Looks a little
Two medical
pissed.
staff not even doing anything. Just standing there looking at everybody.
Kelly rushes to the stairs as Billy comes from behind, slashing her with the scalpel. She grabs him and throws him over the stairway, causing him to fall on top of the Christmas tree, impaling him. His intestines spew out. He is very much dead. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure. By this time, I was ready for more, just in case.
Yep.
And Kelly's left to look on in shock as the credits start. Wow. Now, so before we go into the whys and our scores, there is a few things I want to address.
Yes.
I know we really just reviewed the movie, but this movie is so fucking bonkers and stupid. I just think some maybe justification and shed some light. So also, just so you know, there is an unrated version of this movie. I don't know what the fuck that would look like. I don't think it would fix anything, but
no.
I would be lying to say I'm not morbidly curious.
I'm ready to be curious about that.
Now, when I
watch it,
yeah, it wouldn't be today. When I said too many chefs in the kitchen, I counted 16 producers, co-producers, and executive producers, not including the fucking Weinsteins for this movie.
Yeah.
So there were 18 people producing this movie. And just an FYI, because this movie was so ill received and the constant meddling from the studio, Glenn Morgan apparently literally retired from directing. He still produced and writes. He's written and directed X-Files, Space Above and Beyond. He executive produces and writes the new Twilight Zone. Like, he's not a hack. And now, 16 years later, there's a pre-production for a movie called Unearthed that he's finally directing. And it probably will, when it finally gets a commercial, it probably will not say from the director of 2006's Black Christmas.
Oh, fuck no. This poor man is going to bear this as far down in his resume as he possibly can.
Now, remember the trailer? We watched the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer for this movie was good. Watching it just before we went and saw the movie had me thinking this maybe got bad reviews for its over-the-top silliness, violence, because the trailer instilled a fair amount of hope in me in that the trailer... Okay, so I had to go back and watch the trailer. It had the frozen lake, the hand coming out of the ice, the Christmas-like killing machine that was dragging one of the characters wrapped in lights toward it, that looked like a giant lawnmower. If you go back and watch the trailer, you'll see this. The girl falling off the roof, tangled in lights. Well, not only were they not in the movie, they weren't scenes cut from the movie. After some focus groups, Weinstein's marketing people, decided to action up the trailer with these newly shot scenes, unbeknownst to the director and main producers. They just got a call that said they were going to shoot some close-up of some ornaments and presents and to add to the trailer. And the producers and the director was like, oh, okay, sounds good.
That's fucking stupid. That is the stupidest marketing move ever.
Their reasoning was if people like what they see in the trailer and pay to see the movie and don't see any of those things, well, they'll just be mad that they didn't see it, but we got their money. If people don't like what they see, they're not paying us to see the movie anyways. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a law against that. There's also a Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah.
Wielding a shotgun that Morgan references in a book that was used for a TV spot, but he was never able to track it down. In the spot, she aims a shotgun at someone, ringing the sorority house doorbell and says, "Merry Christmas, Mother," beep.
Yeah.
So that was used in a TV spot. Never happened. It reminded me, did you watch Scrooged with Bill Murray?
Yes.
When he made that trailer for the play they were doing, and everyone watched it and was horrified, and they're like, that has nothing to do. And there was not one scene from.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Morgan talks openly about his troubles with Black Christmas in a book called Anatomy of Fear, revealing that it didn't really even end up being his movie. The Weinstein brothers, he said, had their hands all over the film, insisted that he increased the violence, the silliness, and even changed the ending on him. The two killers, Billy and Agnes, that was their idea.
So we can blame the Weinstein brothers. Cool.
Yeah. And the other 16 producers. So yeah, this was definitely, and I remember you saying in the pre-watch that you could tell that just by the editing that there was, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
There's a point in the movie where it just all goes left and you're just like, what fucking movie is this? Like, This is not what we were winding up to. Because up until then, it was great. Well,
it was
not.
But it was fine.
It was fine. It was a good, decent mid-2000s horror movie.
And I think that's what the director was going for. He was trying to make a remake, a little more gorier, a little more stylized, and then people were just
everybody just starts fucking up. And then it turned into something else. It turned into it turned into literal hot garbage that was on fire. Like, it was just, I was sitting there going, what the fuck is, okay. Like, it just got more and more ridiculous.
So why did we like it then? For me, I didn't watch it then. I probably like it more now than I would have if I had saw it then, which isn't great. How about you? What, you liked it then? What was the reason?
I liked it then because the majority of the movie was just a good run-of-the-mill, horror movie for the 2000s. And then it got ridiculous. So that was why I liked it then. Partially because it got ridiculous. Like, I could recognize, I was like, this does not make it a good film. This is not a film. This is a movie. I can recognize that. It's fun. It's ridiculous, or it becomes ridiculous. But that was why I liked it, because it obviously couldn't take itself too seriously.
No.
There's nothing to take seriously. It's literally impossible to take this movie seriously.
I agree. For people who remember liking it, for me, I would like to know who you people are so we can stop you from reproducing.
Be me. Don't worry, we're not reproducing. But here's why I liked it, because I recognized the ridiculousness of it. Now, if you liked this movie and thought it was, honest to God, a good film and that it was quality work, there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
But I'm one of those, like, it was really, it just got weird. I could appreciate the weird for what it is, but it's really fucking weird and it's not very good. I can say that.
Well, for people who haven't seen it, I mean, I would say give it a go. It is, I think, in that category, so bad it's good. Like, if it stopped at the house burning down, it would have been mediocre at best. But that ending, the changes, the plotting, editing, it's fucking horrible. Like, horrible with good acting, decent effects for the most part. The lighting, everything was great.
Oh yeah, no, this movie is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it's a good time.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Could this movie be rebooted? Again, same as before. Like if you
And
want a
they
more
did.
schlocky version, yeah. Yes, it could be rebooted. And they probably do a better job than this one. Okay, so I'll do my movie score first. Okay. All right. So, well, basically it's like, well, this movie fucking sucked. It sucks so bad that it might have sucked itself into being a campy cult. What the fuck, so bad it's good? I'm not sure. The director is capable. The story was pretty much written for them. The acting, you couldn't put a better who's who of young female actors at the time. And they could all act. Even the ones who died off early, Andrea Martin included. The crew, all capable. The look, feel, sound, and music, all great. The rewrites and constant meddling from the studio, which after watching this clusterfuck of a movie was so apparent. This studio interference almost certainly changed almost the whole movie from a decent, albeit more violent remake of a classic to a mediocre horror movie from 2006. But this ending, this abomination turned an already ruined horror movie into a shitstorm of disbelief. But after all of that, I wouldn't be opposed to watching it again. Tomorrow? No. This year? No. But somewhere down the line, and that's because of the great acting and hints of a capable movie bleed through it. Throw that in with absurd rewrites, plot holes, and at times any resemblance of common fucking sense. Well, you get Black Christmas 2006, which might be more fun to watch for its absurdness than its plot and story. As a movie by itself, a 3. Beyond awful. Had a few glimmers of hope, but in the end, I was wrong. But taking it for the abomination that it is, 5.5. In between meh, it was okay, and pretty kind of good. And this is based on the whole, it's so bad. It really is like a dumpster fire. It's not a good thing seeing that fire, but you're going to watch it burn. So I'll probably watch it again because it's that
bad. 100%. I'm coming in at like a 5.2. And the main reason is that it seemed to be doing okay. Even when it was doing okay, it still wasn't a good movie. But you were like, this is passable. This is an enjoyable watch while I'm folding laundry or while I'm doing something. Like it's a good time. And then it just goes off the rails and completely ridiculous. Rhyme and reason are thrown out the window. And you're just sitting there going, I don't know how we got here, and I don't think I want to be here. So that's why I'm like, would I watch it again? Probably. Because why not? But am I purposely going to go out of my way to watch it again? Am I ever going to say, you know what I feel like watching? Black Christmas 2006. Never. I'm never going to say that. However, if I'm scrolling through Netflix and I'm super bored one day, yeah, I'll probably, if I come across Black Christmas 2006, I'm going to be like, sure, why not? I'll put that on while I read a book. That's what this movie is.
All right, so 5.2. I can't believe I scored it higher than you.
You scored it higher than me, but this is also your first time watching it. Every time you see it, more ridiculous pops up, and you're like, who's watching this movie?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that was 2006.
2006.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,